Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It. Today we're watching a video by Johnathan Pie. Johnathan Pie, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's called Woke Utopia. We've already seen it, so this isn't like a surprise reaction to us, but we're going to talk about a few ideas he drops in the videos, and yeah, let's just dive into it.
The firing of Rebekah Long-Bailey has reignited the row over anti-Semitism in the Labour Party. As Keir Starmer battles to keep his party from civil war, the left contingent of the Labour Party threats... Hang on. I'm confused. It's still such an odd phrase to me. You know, the left-wing contingent of the Labour Party. The whole party is supposed to be fucking left-wing, right? But that's not what's confusing me, OK? Where to begin? Really, okay. The left-wing contingent are up in arms, right? That's what's confusing me, okay? Because surely this is what they want, right? If one of your own is getting fired for essentially posting on Twitter an article from The Independent, then you've won. The culture war is over. Victory. It's what you've always wanted. People losing their jobs for retweeting the wrong opinions. Exactly the same people that have their pitchforks primed for any careless slip of the tongue or unthinking moment online. They're up in arms. Well, you shouldn't be, because this is the world that you created. You can't have it both ways. You can't spend the last 3 weeks talking about racist microaggressions in the context.
So let's quickly talk about that, that post he's talking about.
Yeah, so basically what happened is Rebekah Long-Bailey shared an article, I think it was an interview with an actress. I can't remember the actress's name. But one of the things that this actress discussed is the idea that the Israeli government taught the police the technique that they then used on George Floyd to kill him.
Okay.
So
so this was in a way it's like a controversial kind of thing to repost.
Yeah, but the thing is that no one knows whether the reason she reposted it was because of this bit, because it was quite a long interview.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Who knows what part of the interview was what she liked.
Yeah, so it's just maybe she liked the interview overall, and then people said the fact it just has this bit, you should get fired for it, and she actually got fired for that.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Wow, that's quite crazy. I guess free speech doesn't, and she's on the left.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to try and guess her name. But he mentions it later. Okay,
yeah. So basically the left right now is eating themselves up, basically, by the sounds of it.
Pretty much. They're all trying to be woker than thou, aren't they?
So it's like you not
can't be woke enough
as me, so you should. Yeah, I never really believed in this idea of someone says something on Twitter, therefore they should be fired from their job. Like I don't think there's many situations that should be applicable, especially if okay, maybe if your job is to look after kids, and then you post a tweet about touching kids or something. Okay, maybe if you maybe then, and if it's serious kind of thing, but
yeah, it's difficult because private companies have the right to sack who they want, I suppose, and even though I admit it's a problem, but it's difficult to legislate that problem away while maintaining our freedom.
Yeah, that is true, because in a way it's the company's freedom of speech to
sack who they want.
Yeah.
Well, not freedom of speech, but freedom generally. Yeah, it's really tough.
I guess it is a hard one, isn't it? That is interesting.
Of police brutality, and then ignore her endorsement of an interview which includes a lazy, clumsy and unfounded statement that could easily be construed as anti-Semitic, whilst also undermining the issue of police brutality. You can't have it both ways. Surely this is what you've been striving for. A culture that entirely rejects the notion of nuanced debate and giving the benefit of the doubt in favour of an assumption of bigotry at every available opportunity.
Yeah, what he said right there is facts though. Nuance in debate has just completely gone with the wind, and everything is just as black and white as possible.
Yeah.
From what I've seen. And I think that is just social media. We want everything short and quick. And I guess it's everyone's fault individually that it's like that.
I think social media is part of it.
Yeah.
But
it's like no one then goes to go, okay, let me look further into this. How valid or how true is this? Or, you know, folks, like a good example is J.K. Rowling. Like, I don't think she's transphobic, in my opinion.
No.
But people just label her as that. And then other people see that label and just go, yeah, she's transphobic. And they haven't really looked into her actual ideas or reasoning behind it. And you know, I guess you could still see what she's arguing and go, yeah, transphobic. But at least you've taken that.
Debate her points.
Yeah. That's another thing. It's like, if someone says something that you don't agree with it, we instantly label them as something.
Yeah.
Instead from actually address or tackle their ideas.
Yeah, I was thinking today, like, do you remember Nick Griffin and like the BNP and stuff?
Yeah, I remember the BNP. Who was Nick Griffin? Was he?
He was the lead of the BNP,
okay.
I remember there was just generally in the country there was, you know, not huge, but there was growing support of Nick Griffin and the BNP, and they had him on Question Time, and all that support just disappeared because he just went on and was an idiot.
It was just being dumb.
Now, I appreciate that if you look at some of the things I'm quoted as having said in the Daily Mail Day and so on, I'd be a monster. Those things are outrageous lies.
Is the untrue quote that's been said about you? The Holocaust denial, possibly?
The vast majority of them. Far too many to go into, but... All
right, let's just go to denying the Holocaust, Francis. Did you deny the Holocaust?
I
Yes,
do not
you
have
did.
a conviction for Holocaust denial.
But you did deny it. Why are you smiling? It's not a particularly amusing issue.
I was very critical of the way in which the Holocaust was, and is, in fact, abused to prevent serious discussion over immigration.
Just you say you're misquoted. Ethnicity. I want to see Britain become... Wait. Ethnicity. Please, ethnicity. I want to see Britain become 99% genetically white, just as she was 11 years before I was born, on race, right? Mixed marriages. It's sad when a unique human genotype becomes extinct. Islam, we'll come to it later. You say you're misquoted. All I'm saying is, I can't find the misquotations, and apparently nor can you.
You're just an idiot. Like, you know, nowadays we would push, you know, the fact that his support for him is growing down and just push it down and let it fester. But then, they let him on and just overnight, just his support just
went.
Yeah,
that's quite an interesting thing though with how social media acts. Like the actual social media platforms themselves, like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, I guess, as well.
Yeah,
how they believe the way to stop these ideas is by pushing them down. But like as you're saying, you just push them down and it's like a seed, really. You can't stop the seeds growing by pushing it under the ground. That's the perfect place for it to grow.
Exactly.
And if you actually put a light to it and look at their points and arguments and say where they're wrong, you know, then you could, people who were looking to support them will go, actually, maybe their idea is not right. But if you never actually tackle their ideas and just say they shouldn't be heard at all, then the people who follow them don't actually have a counter argument. They just go, oh, see, our ideas must be more right now because they don't want people to hear it because it must be so true, kind of thing. And that's how you have all these conspiracy theorists, and that's how you have these people who are so racist.
I suppose I completely agree, but to play devil's advocate,
of course,
I suppose some people would say that so someone's got this disgusting opinion, and they're spouting it and other people are hearing it. If you close them down then that prevents some people hearing it and that idea potentially spouting up in them. Any thoughts?
In a way, yes, but it's like the internet's so huge. There's so many new platforms. There's the dark web. These people find a way to communicate. If you have that point of view, you will find that person again. Like, what's the name of that? Oh, I'm so bad with names, but it was this guy who he's always shouting on the fucking microphone. Like, I feel sorry for his microphone.
Oh, Alex Jones.
Yeah, he got banned.
That's funny that I got that from just shouting. Yeah. He's talking about shouting as Alex Jones. Yeah. Yeah,
he apparently what happened with him was that there was a shooting and he said the whole thing was a hoax. And
he's a weird guy.
So YouTube banned him because people were saying how your child died in that shooting.
But that guy thinks there's like interdimensional child molesters on the moon. Like, is that someone we need to ban, or is that someone we need to just go?
Yeah, just go. He's a fucking idiot if you don't see that. And for you to ban him further kind of validates him, because if big corporations are saying his ideas are so dangerous,
all his fans see that and go, oh, he must be right
on
something.
He must have been onto something. That's why they banned him. And then he just made his own website. He's now probably making more money from it because they paid to see his videos instead of relying on YouTube ad revenue. You've just kind of empowered the beast. You haven't you haven't slowed his ideas down. That's why freedom of speech is so important. The only way to defeat bad ideas is with good ideas. You can't fucking shut them down. You can't make them run away. You can't kill them because, history, people tried to kill ideas they didn't agree with, like literally kill the people. But you didn't kill the idea, you killed the person.
I suppose, the only way to get rid of bad ideas is with good ideas. But I suppose the issue is that people don't always change their minds, even if you have present them the most well-argued, rational.
I feel like that's very few people. There is those people, I feel like a majority of people. I don't know,
I think it's more common than you think. I think we all do it.
I feel like everyone's quite, they have their biases and the way of seeing things. But I feel like maybe I feel like if you sit down and speak to someone, and it's not you trying to show them how stupid they are, or it's you trying to, first of all understand what their point is, and then break down why their idea might not be right, but where they might be right in their argument, then I think
definitely, I agree.
You could be more persuasive, like that guy who goes around making friends with KKK members, the black guy.
Daryl Davis.
How many members of the KKK have you stopped being members?
I would say maybe directly between 40 and 60 people. Indirectly, over 200.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does one go about changing the mind of a racist?
By learning as much as you can about that ideology. I realize that not everybody's going to change.
Yeah.
There are going to be those people who will go to their graves being hateful, violent, and racist. And they'll just have to go that way.
Yeah.
But there are other people who are more ignorant. Ignorance can be cured. When two enemies are talking, they're not fighting. They're talking. They might be yelling and screaming and disagreeing and beating their fists on the table to drive home a point. But at least they're talking. It's when the talking stops that the ground becomes fertile for violence. So we want to keep the conversation going.
I'm a far-right man to hell for. A lot of times we don't agree with everything, but at least he respects me to sit down and listen to me. And I'll respect him to sit down and listen to him.
Respect is the key. Sitting down and talking, not necessarily agreeing, but respecting each other to air their points of view. Because of that respect and my willingness to listen and his willingness to listen to me, he ended up leaving the Klan, and there's his robe right there. I am a musician, not a psychologist or sociologist. If I can do that, anybody in here can do that.
He's what makes what he does work is because he doesn't believe they're their ideas. He believes they're humans first with just some bad ideas. And I think that's how you persuade them. But if you shout at someone like your ideas are bad, you're further just putting them into their ideas.
Definitely. And with him, it's not necessarily through debate. It's just through being friends with them.
Yeah, just being a good human being, showing them black people aren't inferior, they're just fellow human beings, and you can be friends with. So it's like, I feel like we've lost that nuance, as he's saying, of arguing and debating and speak, because that, in a way, when you debate with someone, you are kind of saying, I value you as a human, I value your thoughts, I value your opinion, I just don't agree with your opinion. It's quite a mature thing to do. It's quite I feel like it's quite it's the most tolerant thing to do, to talk with people you don't agree with.
Yeah, definitely. No, I fully agree. I'm happy to talk to anyone I don't agree with. It's difficult, obviously, so like, because you mentioned social media earlier on, like if you are that guy that tweets everything you think, as some people are, then it's hard to ever have. No one's going to forget it because it's there on record. And people are not too quick to forgive either. So that something. You can't. You can't discuss an opinion one day and then grow out of it, because someone can dig up your tweets from 5 years ago.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Like, judging people by tweets they made like 5-10 years ago. Do you think, like, because Kevin Hart had that whole thing with he made the homophobic joke, but again, he's a comedian, so it's a joke. It's like I hate this idea that jokes have to be your view of the world. Like, why did the chicken cross the road? Well, there wasn't a chicken. It's a joke. It's separate to reality. Like, I don't know. I love what Dave Chappelle said. He said that the reason why you need to be able to make fun of everyone is to show that everyone's equal in a way. It's like, that's why he loves trans jokes. He finds the whole thing trans situation funny. But it's like, he makes fun of most groups, even black people, kind of thing. So for him not to make fun of trans people is almost him kind of showing in a way that they're not equal, that they need some kind of special treatment. Exactly. But the plan should be for equality, not special treatment, because then how is that equal? I heard him, I can't remember how the joke worked, but he was saying that, like, in the joke he's like talking to this trans woman, and he's like, how come people say that when you make a joke about R. Kelly you're normalizing it, but when you make a joke about trans people you're demonizing trans people? And there's like a hypocrisy. That's true, and it's all interpretation as well. So it is all how you interpret it. Like, I think it was Ricky Gervais said that there's always going to be someone that finds something offensive. So it shouldn't be because something's offensive you stop it. But I guess then people say, but there is a line, and I guess there is a line. It's how do you set
that line? Like, who do you trust to set that line?
That's why most of the people that are for free speech are like, there can't be a line apart from, if it's inciting violence.
But even that's tricky, isn't it?
But I feel like the inciting violent one is quite fair.
Like, but then, like, the guy that shot John Lennon said that the book Catcher in the Rye told him to do it. Like, so can you say that Catcher in the Rye incited?
You could say that about, like, any or any crime,
or like the Columbine guys did Marilyn Manson make them do it.
Black people, I hate black people too. There's this black person, let's go to his house and burn it down with him. I think there's a big difference. It's like one's saying to do something, the other one's just like, this is my view on things.
But then even then the argument is that I can tell you to do something and you can say no. Like, you're still an autonomous being. Like,
that reminds me of in school, the let him have it thing, and the officer's like, give the gun. Let him have it, and is it let him have the gun, or let him have the bullet? I guess that is a hard thing to.
So context, and I don't know.
So context matters. It is, the debate on free speech is difficult, but I feel like it should have as little restrictions as possible. I think when we reach a world where we're so sensitive about words, we start forgetting about actions. And we start conflating the two as well.
But that's the thing, like, in terms of actions, we live in such a safe society, so there's this sort of amplification of words. Like, people say, like, they hear certain opinions, they say they feel unsafe
Yeah.
And it's like, because that detector isn't there, because they haven't had to live through war and shit.
Yeah, because there's a feeling of unsafe in actually being unsafe.
Yeah, I think I heard someone talking about this, where it's like we live in like one of the safest societies, but also one of the most mollycoddled, and one of the most like catastrophizing. So it's like kids are the safest they've ever been, and yet you read a newspaper and it's like kids being abducted, kids being raped, and
that's one thing I hate about the media, because they kind of over exaggerate things. They make things look like they happen more than they do happen, and that then makes people react in certain ways that kind of make these things happen more. That's what I think.
Definitely, I think parents are way stricter with their kids now. Well, not necessarily stricter, but more micromanaging. Even though we're safer now.
Yeah, we are quite. There is still danger, but we are. It's probably the safest time there's ever been.
Yeah, definitely.
In the history of humanity.
And so these kids that have been
so
really protected and told that everything outside this little bubble is just a risk, then they get to university or whatever, and then suddenly an idea they don't like is terrifying.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because it's the unknown.
So life is just so good at this point. Like, it's not perfect, but life is so good at this point that the facts, like, that's in school when there was like sticks and stones may break my bone, but words will never hurt. We've reached a point where there's no sticks or stones to break your bones, so words are the only thing you can find to hurt yourself. Like,
I like that. That's interesting.
It's like that's the only like, no one's throwing sticks at you, no one's throwing stones at you. You're not scared for your life. So and I think that's part of human nature. We need some kind of challenge. We need some kind of problems and obstacles. Some people have real ones, and some people have to make them up. So that's where we reached the point where words are seen as such dangerous things. But it is just the overprotection kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a mixture of that relative safeness, but being told that everything is going to kill you. Like, eating a chocolate bar is going to kill you.
Give you cancer.
I don't know.
But I think we enjoyed that. That's why, I always criticize the media, but at the same time, it also comes back to us, because we're the ones that consume that. And the media only gives us what we consume, so it's like a negative feedback loop. So I think that the only solution to it is everyone stop being little bit about everything.
Let's be more rational.
Let's not
realize that upset. We've got it pretty fucking good.
Yeah, we've got pretty fucking good. Because I think emotions are the most, they can be good, but I feel like emotions are one of our most prehistoric attributes. When there are emotions that are good, but they can be corrupt, kind of thing as well. So compassion's a good emotion, but too much compassion is bad, because you leave no room for that person to actually grow. Because
you got to be cruel to be kind and all that.
I think that's why, not to big up African parents, but I think that's why African parents usually raise good kids, because they know that they need to show them the belt sometimes. They need to actually show them pain and get them to be responsible for them to grow. It's there for everything to be perfectly provided for the child, and that, how can you grow if you don't need to? It's not plausible, is it?
It's not.
That's why rich parents have so much trouble with their kids as well, because what's your kids?
There's this whole thing they call it affluenza.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that?
That it's like the sort of mental health concerns and stuff that come with the children of very rich successful parents. That it's like, it's sort of too easy, but then at the same time, like, how do they live up to that, and like all this sort of thing. That
is true. How do you live up to your parents? And why do you feel like you have to live up to them if you've
got everything given to you?
If you're working class or below, you know what it is to grind, you know what it is to struggle, and you know that people are going to say mean shit, So what? Does that affect your bank account? No.
Yeah, you don't have enough time to worry about intersectionality.
Yeah, it's like you have to have time to be so offended about one tweet when everyone else is like, I got bills to pay. Ain't nobody got time for that. But yeah, let's continue.
Yeah.
Society whereby a tiny but very vocal minority of perma-offended woke twats with an extraordinary amount of power have penetrated every single aspect of our culture and will destroy you if they perceive you have
Just
a different opinion than
they are destroying so many arts. This wokeism is destroying so.
Yeah.
There's now saying go work and go broke kind of thing, because that's what's happening. You make a good example is actually the Harlequin movie, The Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
The idea was to make almost like a feminist movie, but
Yeah.
the irony is that predominantly the people that would watch that movie was males, because the fans of DC and comic books are usually men.
Yeah.
So you make a movie targeted at women when the audience of that movie is predominantly men, and then you get upset with the men for not watching it. It's like, I think marketing's kind of got corrupted by wokeism kind of thing, and it's
definitely
games as well. They're getting corrupted. Shows. It's just everything has to be woke, and it's like, why does everything have to be corrupted by political correct? Even sports.
I heard somewhere that at one point, like, it's not just the creation of art; it's like the criticism of it as well. It's like the BBC. I heard somewhere that the BBC at one point ranked the quality of each Game of Thrones episode purely on like how much airtime women had in it or something. And it's like, I mean, it's great to have,
Well, it just acts like, with things like that, it just acts like the people watching it are this vulnerable group of children who need protection from these things. Game of Thrones is set at medieval times. To be honest, Game of Thrones was actually quite woke, but it didn't put wokeism first.
Yeah.
It put the art first. I know people are like, oh, it's not woke because there's sex scenes of women and, they're like prostitutes and stuff. But the time it's set at, there wasn't no suffragette movement. Do you get what I mean?
No. You can just destroy like the whole canon of like literature. You can just be like, I don't need to read Hemingway because he was sexist. I have to read. And it's like,
art is more than wokeism, and sometimes it's almost defiant of it. Do you get what I mean? I feel like the artist should have the freedom to do whatever art he wants. Yeah. No matter how offensive it is.
Yeah.
And because it's art, like art is just it's in its own realm. It shouldn't comply to our rules of wokeism, in my opinion.
No, I agree. It's escapism. It's supposed to be different to reality.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It shouldn't be confined by our reality. It should be free. But yeah.
And if you want to make a film about a, I don't know, disabled trans lesbian of colour, if it's a good film, great.
Yeah.
But
just make sure
it's a good film. Putting one in doesn't make it a good film.
Yeah. And that's why I don't like how they're always changing characters to make them to support this group of people. Make SpongeBob gay.
SpongeBob's gay.
Oh yeah, because that's what gay people need. It wasn't gay marriage that revolutionized the lives of gay people. It was SpongeBob being gay.
Yeah, SpongeBob's gay. Velma from Scooby-Doo's a lesbian or whatever. I don't know.
What purpose does
Dumbledore, I think.
So how does it help these people? It's to say that their lives are so dependent on these things, and
Dumbledore's a particularly good one because J.K. Rowling retroactively said Dumbledore was always gay, and then she wrote that spin-off Fantastic Beasts or whatever it's called, and then she got in trouble because there weren't enough gay scenes in it.
But that's the problem with this. It's never enough.
It's never enough.
There was a Resident Evil game set in Africa. There was like, how come all the zombies are black people? So it's like, you can't win with that. So the best thing to do is just create what you want to fucking create.
Yeah.
And if people don't like it, they don't like it. But if you don't like something just because you don't see enough people of a certain colour, for me it's like, why is everything seen through the spectrum of race or sexual orientation or why can't it just be what it is? Why can't we just accept things for this movement's all about acceptance, but we can't accept anything.
Well, they need to be validated, don't they?
Yeah, that's true.
Their existence needs to be validated through every single thing they look at.
And that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's completely ridiculous. Yeah, it's just, that's not a reality that's plausible.
If I say, I wouldn't, but if I was to say, I want my straight white male existence validated, everyone would tell me to fuck off.
Yeah. It's like a white person watching a black movie and being like, there wasn't enough white people in it. So it just doesn't matter. It's also pointless, all waste of time, because in contrast you have, people dying. Yeah. You have people dying. You have people being sold as slaves.
It looks like this. In fact, there are an estimated 45.8 million people living in modern slavery across 167 different countries. They fall into 3 general categories: children held in the commercial sex trade, adults held in the commercial sex trade, and any other laborer made to work through force, fraud, or coercion.
You got people being females mutilation, circumcision,
others female genital mutilation or FGM. Whatever the name, the reality is the same. Later that day, girls under the age of 16 will have their clitorises cut out. Every day, 6,000 girls, many of them in sub-Saharan Africa, will endure procedure. It also dooms many to a lifetime of pain, infertility, and deadly infections.
You have so many things to actually put your attention and influence into tackling.
Yeah.
And you're upset that Resident Evil didn't have enough. Well, had too many black people. I don't know. I don't trust how genuine these people's thoughts and beliefs are.
I think a lot of it is driven by clickbait, I think.
Yeah, probably.
I do wonder, like The Guardian, they recently had that article about how skyscrapers reinforce the patriarchy because they're shaped like dicks or whatever. And I do wonder whether they knew they would get agreement clicks and a ton of this is stupid clicks. I do wonder whether that was kind of deliberate.
So it's more about, so they just do it just for the views and getting the clicks and things like that.
Yeah, maybe the best thing we can do to get rid of woke culture is just ignore it.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just those people...
Which is ironic because we're making a video about it, but...
Yeah, that is true. It is content for us, so maybe we should stop our joke. Definitely.
Yeah, why not?
It's just, I feel like that's where the companies need to grow some cojones and just say, yeah, we're not having it. Do you get what I mean? Because a lot of these companies are, they act work, Disney, for example. Yeah, we care about Black lives and all that, and then... But
not when we release the film in China.
In China, no, that's when we don't... If you check a lot of these companies internationally, they are very selective about what they care about, kind of thing. And yeah, it's just... It's all of it is disingenuous.
Of your average Guardian columnist. This is what you wanted. This is how you like it. So you can't act all shocked when it comes back at you. There is so very little of left-wing politics left in this country that is progressive. We willingly handed over the principles of free speech and expression to right-wing bigots a long time ago. Big mistake. We have created a utopia that is censorious.
That's quite interesting though, because it was the right that used to be against free speech.
Yeah, well, the conservative right in America was very big on censorship. It was all scared about rap lyrics and horror films and video games and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's the young lefties
that are the ones.
Yeah, who
against free speech.
It's like the generations have reversed, and like old people are the fun, adventurous ones now, and the young people are the fucking delicate little. Yeah.
There was I forgot which Robert Greene book, but he was saying about how a good way to keep track of what the trend will be for the next generation is the opposite of the trend of the generation before it.
Yeah. So to get all philosophical, Marx built his ideas on a philosopher called Hegel, and Hegel's idea, he called it thesis, antithesis, synthesis, which is the idea that like everything that happens is a direct opposite reaction to what previously happened until we finally get it right, and then that's synthesis.
So it's almost like we go to two extremes before we reach the middle.
Yeah, so there's a thesis, and then there's an antithesis, which is the exact opposite. Yeah. And then you gradually work it out. I think there's some truth to it. Obviously, it's an oversimplification, but yeah.
Okay, that's quite interesting then. So then the generation after this will be pro free speech then.
Hopefully, yeah. That'd be nice.
And then hopefully we go from there like, okay, yeah, we just free speech is a must. Let's keep it as that.
God, but what will this generation be like when they're old? Because surely they'll be like this, but even worse.
Nah, I think they'll be tired of it. It's corrupting video games. I know most of the guys that play video games nowadays, you know, you see fucking articles and videos telling you how sexist you are just because you play you'll be like, I hope we find the middle, but
it's just going to push more and more people out because the demands are just getting more and more unreasonable.
Yeah,
like that. If you believe in biological sex, you're a piece of shit.
And that's fucking crazy.
It's like the stuff that we all learned at school when we were 10 is now hate speech. Like it's just getting more and more ridiculous.
Yeah. You know when people have those parties where they're like trying to find out the gender of the baby? Yeah. Those are gone. You can't have those no more. It's a boy. No, it's not a boy. Yeah, how can you say it's a boy? Isn't real. It doesn't. That's not real. It's crazy.
I'm not sure that pulling down statues of long dead people actually achieves much, and expecting them to have lived by today's standards is rather ridiculous. That opinion is not valid and makes you an apologist for slavery. No, I just want a proper discussion about the implications. No. This way, please. Into the incinerator. You must go.
That is facts. Okay, I just find that I feel like there's this YouTuber I like, Amazing Lucas, and he just spits facts, truth, no hesitation, no remorse, straight truth, and he's like, all of this is just placating. It's just all just to,
so a distraction.
Yeah, or just the aesthetic of change without actually there being a change.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that is part of the overvaluing of words now.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's almost like, you know, pulling down a statue that signifies a change, that racism is gone or that the police are less racist, but it doesn't actually cause a change. It doesn't make a change.
No,
Painting the street Black Lives Matter provides the illusion of a change, but doesn't actually cause. So it's like, this is all just placating, and then a few years later we'll be like, oh, we haven't got enough progression, we need to fucking riot in the streets or something, and then we take the fucking same we got the last time, and it just keeps happening over and over again. And
I think there's such a bombardment of information. Everyone's got sort of a short memory, haven't they?
That's
so
true.
You just need to play the pro-black bandwagon for a week, and then people forget.
Yeah, and then you never actually have to do something.
Yeah. Through people's social media histories to find anything that could be deemed an indiscretion by today's standards, where we all just keep quiet for fear of saying the wrong thing. The upshot of that is we're all happy to pretty much ignore the homophobic murders of 3 men for fear of being labelled Islamophobic. Best just keep quiet, innit? Utopia! A liberal left that almost entirely ignores economic inequality in favour of identity politics, which brings people together by segregating them into smaller and smaller groups based on their gender, their sexuality and their skin.
Yeah, that's what the left is. It should be about economy.
It was about the working class.
Yeah,
it was about
money, class, economics.
Tom, Bob, and Harry working in the local shop.
Yeah, how you can empower them, and now it's about let's hate Tom, Bob, and Harry because they
don't agree with us.
Yeah,
and it's how do you? And they do the same with the groups that they apparently claim to support kind of thing.
Yeah.
You see them do that with gay people. I think you told me about this one gay person that you said the left say isn't actually gay kind of thing.
Pete, I can't remember his name, but he was one of the co-founders of PayPal, and he supported Trump.
Yeah.
And some gay newspaper said, "Oh, he might sleep with men, but he's no longer gay."
And it's like so all it is you must agree with us. They act like they care about these minority groups.
Identity comes second to them.
Yeah.
To your opinion.
Yeah. So it's like they've put identity first for everything, unless your
have the wrong
opinion's
opinion.
different, then your opinion's first.
Yeah, and they're building these groups to be ridiculous as well, like the LGBT GDCVPT thing.
Have the whole fucking alphabet in there.
Yeah, that K for kink is in there. Like, hasn't everyone got a kink?
Everyone's got a kink.
So everyone's in the thing. Like, some homophobic, like, bishop somewhere that's into, like, I don't know, wearing women's underwear or whatever, is now in a category with gay people who he hates.
I'm technically LGBT.
Yeah, we all are LGBT, GDCB. Yeah, and if it always makes me think that, like, if you found some, like, kind of bigger homophobe, like 50 years ago or something, and you're like, oh, so and so's not gay, they're transphobic, you'd be like, oh, they're all the same. And it's like exactly what they're doing by making it all one category, LGBT, GDCB.
And I know there's people in that categorization that don't like the others in it.
I'm sure there's transphobic gays, and
there's trans people that don't like the gender neutral people, because they're like, that completely defines what it means to, like, is a complete opposite of what it is to be trans. Because by definition, being trans is you transition from a gender to another gender. But if one part of it is saying there's no such thing as gender, then there is no transition. Then technically there's no such thing as trans. You're just, well, I don't know what you are. So then to put them all in the same category is just contradictions everywhere.
So you've got lesbian, gay and bisexual that are sexual orientations. You've got transsexual, which is a gender identity thing. You've got intersex, which is a biological thing where you have XY chromosomes but you're born with a vagina or whatever. And they're just not the same. Why have we? And every 10 minutes they add another letter to that.
Is it?
On average, yeah.
Every 10 minutes on average.
It's millions of letters long now.
Oh my goodness. Have they got any numbers in there?
Soon.
But it's so weird, and I think Jordan Peterson said this.
I am joking about the every 10 minutes thing. Okay. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but there's so many fucking letters.
Yeah. Dude, I like what Jordan Peterson said. He's like, that a long time ago the West realized that it's the individual first kind of thing. That you could put people into groups, but there's infinite ways to divide people into groups, and then you just end up with the individual. And he says they're just going to end up at the same destination, basically, because if I divide you into let's say white and black people, and I go white black gay people, or then black gay people with money, then black gay people that are 6 foot, and I keep on going, I'll reach a point where it's one person. It's just one person that's in this multiple endless category of things.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So it's like, that's why there's going to be constant letters to a point where it's infinite, because there's an infinite ways of being able to group people to a point where they're no longer in groups. It's the individual.
We do have to focus on the individual.
So
but otherwise we get into groups and start hating each other.
And that just causes tribalism, and it's like, we've done this, we've been there. If you just look through recent history, we've done this, we've been there. It's been. We realize that it's not good to, like, groups are important to a certain extent. Having that division between boys and girls is important to changing rooms and whatnot. People of learning capabilities, it's important in schools. So it's important to a certain extent, but at the same time we emphasize the fact that they're still individual first.
Yeah.
So you don't treat
individual
someone based
first.
on their group. You treat them based on like Martin Luther King says, based on their character, based on
content or character.
Yeah. So we're gonna end up in it's just repeating history for no reason, basically.
On statues of long dead people actually achieves much, and expecting them to have lived by today's standards is rather ridiculous. That opinion is not valid and makes you an apologist for slavery. No, I just want a proper discussion about the implications. No. This way, please. Into the incinerator. You must go. A liberal utopia where if you even suggest that there might be such a thing as biological sex.
That one I want to talk about, since this is going to be more of a podcast than the actual video. But
yeah,
it was a black woman who did this, but there was white people who agreed with this. But it's like, for you to, when it reaches a point where the people who are screaming how everything are racist are so blinded by, like, they're so blinded by seeing everything by race that they actually become racist.
Oh yeah,
I think that's what, like, with the monkey thing, for you to see a monkey and then associate it with a black person is a racist thing. It's a racist mentality straight away.
Yeah, I agree.
To automatically go, it's a monkey, therefore it's a black person.
And it's a distraction from the real issue.
Yeah,
cool.
This must be a black. They did that with orcs. They're like, orcs was meant to represent black people.
Yeah, and
it's like, how did you get that? Why did you get that? Why do you see orc and think black people and go, this is what it must have meant to be?
I saw this thing that was like, in the aftermath of the whole George Floyd thing. Apparently, it was in the few days after it was a racist microaggression to ask a black person, "How are you?"
What?
Because they'd obviously be really upset about the murder or whatever, but everyone was upset about that murder.
Yeah, it's just dividing people. I saw one about how in movies, black people, it's a trope for black people to be the best friend of the main character that's white. I'm like, so did you want them to be the person who stabs them? Did you want them to be why the f*** does this matter? It's just
it's true.
You're just making a divide. You're making people watch movies and think, instead of think this is a good movie, I like the characters.
Yeah.
They're now thinking, this didn't have enough black people. Oh, why was the black person friends with white person? That's not right.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Especially with this microaggression thing, that it's like, if we want to end racism, then the best way to do that is to have interactions between the races. But then when we talk about microaggressions, we're policing those interactions. We're making those interactions as uncomfortable as possible.
Because me and you, it would be hard for me to be friends with you if, like, you can't say certain things to me. You have to be
really careful
of what you say.
I'm about to be like, "You're right, Toby, how are you?" I'm like, "Oh, no, I can't."
And then I should get offended. How could you say how I do? Like, how is that a world, tolerant world? How is that a better? It sounds like a horrible one. And then you introduced out. There was one point where, like, I was speaking to someone. I asked them, "Where you from?" They're like, "That's not politically correct." It's like, can't we just talk? Why can't you? Why are you assuming the worst from everything I do? Instead from just, I'm a human, you're a human, we're having a conversation. Why assume the worst? Every fucking word you say, I have to analyse it and see which one I could get offended with.
I think it was the University of Sheffield. They hired students to go around and, like, eavesdrop on conversations to make sure there were no racist microaggressions happening. So all these, like, helpless, stupid black people needed a load of white students to go around and make sure that
they're
nothing slightly offensive was said.
It's almost like black people have a disability.
Yeah,
and
they're idiots.
These woke white people to support us. Please help us, because people said some stuff that you told me I should interpret as a thing.
One of them was making sure that no white person said to a black person, "Oh, can I touch your hair?" And it's like, surely you're capable of being like, "No, fuck off."
Yeah.
Like, you don't need someone to Like, who said? Is anyone going around saying that anyway?
Like, I've had white people say, "Can I touch your hair?" But I don't take offense to it. In a way, I take it almost as a compliment because I fucking love my hair.
I think it's kind of I think it's kind of a weird question to ask, I suppose, but I don't think it's a racist question.
Like, when I have afro hair, like, I get that question more than because it's like afro hair, you don't see it as much. And I guess, like, you know, it does look like, you know, be cool to touch it. Do you get what I mean? So I understand it kind of thing. I always try to... What was that? I always try to take as little offense from things as possible, kind of thing. Yeah, no, of course. And even if someone's meaning to be offensive, I don't take it personally. For me, it's more of a them. Yeah, a representative issue. of their problems, not a problem with me. Yeah. But is this society now, we're telling them that that's a problem with you. You should take full offense with that. Yeah, you should. You should be a victim. I saw a weird post actually the other day. It was like, I was this day young or something like that when I realized that I wasn't ugly. I was just a person of color. It's like, so are you saying black people must feel ugly because they're black?
Oh, it's just like, because they don't live up to European standards of beauty or whatever.
What fuck? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I've never based what I look like. Never based how attractive I feel. Yeah. On what I see on TV.
Yeah, of course, but
I don't know. I do. You know, I'm black. I don't know. Maybe a lot of this is just how I see the world. But I just try not to. I feel like you should try harder not to take offense from things than you should try to not be offensive.
But then you can't be a victim, which is great apparently.
Yeah, being a victim is the new cool thing. It's cool. Being a victim was like, you're fucking neat, let's fuck you up kind of thing. Now being a victim's like it's cool. Yeah. If you're not a victim, you're just a weirdo. Why?
Yeah, victimhood is the new power.
Yeah, how come you're not oppressed by something? And then people go in. I'm not trying to say anything, but people go out the way to join a victim group. That's what I feel like. I don't know, and because it's a trend. It's a trend now to be a victim. It's the new it kind of thing, and then if you're in a group that's supposed to be a victim and you choose not to be a victim, then you must not be educated. Yeah,
you've internalized that victim.
Yeah.
So if you have internalized misogyny or internalized racism or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, isn't it, that like if you disagree with the fact that this thing exists, that's even further proof that it does.
Yeah.
It's like, so if I think there is white privilege personally to a certain extent, but if I was to say I don't think there is white privilege, they'd be like, oh, that's because of your white privilege. And if you said the same, it'd be like, oh, it's because you have internalized racism. Yeah. So it's so convenient that anyone who doesn't agree is proof that it's real.
That is, that's a good strategy for them.
It's genius.
It's just also, it's so fascinating really. Like if you...
Oh, it's really interesting. Yeah.
I feel like there'll be proper like scientists and psychologists studying this era and going, yeah, it was really fascinating.
What the fuck was wrong with them?
They were so backwards back then. Always complaining about movies and shows and what people said. Or they bought iPhones that was made in sweatshops for little kids. It's like we'll all
buy an iPhone and then go on Twitter to say fuck capitalism.
Where nuance and context and intent are gone, where people go to prison for telling jokes. I am not joking. This is what you wanted. This is how you like it. Utopia, where only the right opinions are tolerated. I don't for 1 second believe that the actor Maxine Peake is a racist. Ping! Correct. I also don't believe that the actor Lawrence Fox is a racist. Bzzzt. This way, please. No, just leave your belongings there. Thank you. This won't hurt a bit. As the row over anti-Semitism continues, Keir Starmer is battling.
Like, I like Johnathan Pie. He's on the left, but I feel there's so many people on the left that just positively represent. Like, I used to criticize how there's not enough people on the left that criticize the left, but there's more and more of it, and it's it's great really, because he's right. meant to be about the working class, meant to be about
money.
Yes,
not identity.
Helping inequality. That was this episode of Let's Talk About It.
Yeah.
You know, tell us what you think. If you got bored, that's fine. Tell us that anyway.
I mean, we did.
Yeah.
We got bored. Naturally.
It was a very boring video.
Yeah.
But yeah, we hope we didn't offend anyone too much with what we said. And
or we offended everyone, and then as a result of that, didn't offend anyone.
Yeah, I hope we equally offended everyone. So it's like South Park, they're racist to everyone.
Yeah.
So it's like they're not racist. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends about it. See you next time, another episode of Let's Talk About It.